I have your attention, please. The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Crypto Night Show. Another day on Pulse Chain, another day in crypto. We're going to cover it all today, but in particular, we're going to be focusing in on the Richard Hart coins. We're going to be looking at Pulse Chart. We're going to look at Pulse HEX. We're going to look at INC and HEX. So it should be a lot of fun. We're also going to check out MInimeal. It is coming up for the big corporate summit there on the 3rd. So it's getting very close indeed. And of course, the Soul token has been one of the best performing tokens on the deck screen, a leaderboard. So we're going to check that out too. We're obviously going to get into the rest of the markets and see what else is hot. If you like Lamborghinis, apparently there's one for you out there. So we're going to check that too. So we've got a lot of cool stuff happening today on the live stream. And of course, you know what's coming up. Our first XSpace. Yeah, that's right. The Crypto Night Show hosting its first XSpace. MVS Crypto and myself will be co-hosting that. So we're looking forward to that. It's going to be pretty exciting. We've got a great lineup of 5 teams, so we're going to talk more about that coming up in a minute. And of course, yeah, the DeFi rising stars on Pulse Chain. It's going to be pretty exciting. So come and hear all about that. It's going to be pretty cool. There was a little cool collab yesterday, of course, between Crypto Paradise, which we just interviewed recently with Nick and Emmett Farms, led by Kairos, of course, the founder of that. So that was pretty amazing. That did a really big God mode candle. We're going to talk about that coming up as well. That was pretty exciting. So nice work there, Kairos, and of course, Nick from Crypto Paradise, looking pretty awesome. We're going to hopefully see more and more of that kind of collaboration. As you guys know, we have been encouraging that a lot with the teams that we work with. So it's very, very exciting where that's all heading because everyone wins together. That's pretty much it. That's the motto of the show, a win-win show. How about that? All right, so I hope you guys enjoy it. We got Hex Grad in the house there. Hey. Good to see Hex Grad. Hope you're doing well also. Big shout out to you, doing everything possible to build the USA great again, as he says. And of course, yeah, definitely remember to share the show on X. All you have to do, take a moment, get on your X account and just push the repost button. That is the link in the chat there. So yeah, if you can do that, that'd be fantastic. Share the show around and pump your own bags, as it were. Pump your own bags. We got Wookie in the house as well. Hey. Good to see you, Wookie. Hope you're doing well there. Yeah, go the Warriors. The Warriors are doing pretty well. So we have 2 different rugby codes down here in Australia and New Zealand, and one of them is called Rugby Union, and one of them is called Rugby League. And of course, the Warriors is New Zealand's team for the Rugby League code, as it were, and they're doing pretty well. They're number 1 or number 2 on the table. Wookie, let me know in the chat there if you like sports. So looking pretty good. All right, I can see already that my hair's looking a bit disheveled. I need a bit of a haircut to shapen up and sharpen up here. And I know something else I'm going to be getting in the future for the show. So keep a lookout for that. Up the wires, says Wookie, up the wires. All right, shall we get into it? Let's get into some of the cool stuff that's happening. Number 2. Oh, Warriors are number 2 at the moment. Okay, pretty cool. Yeah, maybe they might win the season for the first time ever, would it? I think they've been in 2 grand finals and over like the last, 30 years, when they launched in the 90s. I think it was in the 90s. All right, so let's get into it without further ado. Don't encourage him. Yeah, I know. Sorry about that, Brennan. Sorry about that. All right, so let's get into it. Was it the Newcastle Knights? Let's go. Newcastle Knights for the win. Craig Pitt's in the house as well. Big shout out to you, Craig. Morning all. And good to see you also. Let's have a look at what I've been talking about over the last sort of wee while. We also obviously had the monster thread go out yesterday, which we talked about yesterday's show. So big shout out to Crypto MVS for that, our promotional lead at the Crypto Night Show team. Doing great job there. Yeah, I posted out a few things here yesterday. Yeah, okay, so we had the God Mode candle. I posted that out. So that was pretty cool. That is on Emmett Farms, and that was a collaboration there with Crypto Paradise Surf Token going on to Emmett Farms. So yeah, you guys know Crypto Paradise is a ginormous new community coming over to Pulse Chain. And of course, they've got about 135,000 followers on X. So it's a very large community, definitely can move markets. And we see that today, the power of Crypto Paradise there. So shout out to Nick Hellman and Amaru and others out there a pretty cool correlation. And of course, Kairos, they're the founder of Emmet Farms, one of the best performing farms on Pulse Chain. So it's nice to see the token get a bit of love. We're going to check that out later and see what the latest and greatest is on there. But definitely got pumped from 60 cents to $1.22. Let's see what it is when we get to it, when we do the old Pulse Chain update. That was pretty cool. We've got, obviously, the big thing yesterday was the monster thread came out, and that was from MVS Crypto. So if you haven't read that, you definitely got to share that around. I'm going to post the link to that in the video description as well. But that's just an incredible read about everything that's happened over the last week. So definitely check that out, because I think that's going to be pretty exciting for everybody. Share it around. This is the key thing. You got to share around. So monster thread, and share that around, and bam, it's just come out. So it's pretty hot, as we say. So that is the monster thread there. Share it around to your friends. Just repost it and leave comments, like it, and all that good stuff. But I think you'll find an incredibly informative read about a lot of things that are going around the whole Pulse Chain community, and far and wide, we say. All right, so that is it there. Let's jump back out of that, and let's move forward. We even had Ben here with the Rack and Rochelle team, said if the Pulse Chain Weekly Recap newsletter doesn't inspire our community to come together and engage, I'm not sure what will. This is our chance to stay informed, connected, and energized. Let's rally behind it. So pretty exciting there for Ben. Big shout out to Ben there and the Rack and Rochelle team. Yeah, we had a cool time. Let me just jump through some of this. We have the upcoming XSpace on Pulse Chain for the Kryptonite Show team, and that's the first one that we've ever done. So it's going to be pretty cool. So Pulse Chain's DeFi Rising Stars. So it is finally here. So the Kryptonite Show will be hosting its first XSpace, showcasing the Pulse Chain's DeFi Rising Stars. And of course, you can see some of the cool imagery there. I love that stuff. So it's going to be at Wednesday, 4th of June. So it's just coming up. It's not too far away, I guess. Another 24, 48 hours. Going to be 9 p.m. Eastern time, which will be around about 1 o'clock New Zealand time, or about 11 a.m. in the morning on a Thursday. So because we're so far ahead, it'll be on Thursday. We went down under, but it'll be Wednesday in the evening, US time. Just to take a reference on that. But we want to see you there. So turn up and hear from some of the best rising teams on Pulse Chain. It's going to be really cool. So what are we going to have? We're going to have Crypto Paradise. Let me just increase this here so we can get we're going to have Crypto Paradise is going to be there. So this huge team that's come over to Pulse Chain with the Surf token. Looks like they're coming full on. And now this partnership with Emmet Farms. So you don't want to miss that. They've called their product the Surf token meme utility. So meme utility there. Kind of cool. So we're looking forward to having Crypto Paradise there. We're going to have Nakamoto 414. So this will be like Cabal King and his enterprise. And we see 414 at the moment racing it up the charts. And Nakamoto's doing pretty well. Also, I call this Ultra DeFi. They've got a lot of cool reflection tokenomics and liquidity and things like that. Then we're going to have Heart with Dog, of course, the viral Pulse Chain story anime. And of course, we've been covering that last week. I think we covered it pretty fully. And that's going to be, I think, a sensation through this whole bull market for Pulse Chain. The Heart with Dog. They're going to have well over 100 chapters in that story. And it's just getting bigger and bigger with all your popular influencers and, of course, celebrities and many other characters like the main character, Hog, which is going to be pretty cool. We're also going to have Mitchie, of course, and we've covered Mitchie before. Big shout out to IC33. And we're going to have, obviously, Mitchie was RH, Richard Hart's cute little dog meme. And so we're going to be covering that too. And oh, so cute. And then we've also got some pretty radical different tokenomics here. And I really love it. It's based on Nuke the Supply. And basically, it's a nuclear GameFi protocol. And man, it's pretty clever. And they use ICBMs. You have to arm your ICBM and all the tokenomics. And it basically nukes the supply. So it's very cool tokenomics. And the website's all really neat. So I like it. I like it a lot. Now, it does give you a little bit of flashback. If you've seen the old classic 80s movie War Games, it's got a bit of that kind of feel to it. I like it. It's pretty edgy. So that's coming up. And of course, MVS Crypto and myself will be hosting that 4th of June, 9 p.m. Eastern. And it'll be about 1 hour each. There's going to be 5 teams, and they'll speak for about 10 to 15 minutes, showcasing the project and Pump Mental. So you definitely want to turn up to that. I think that's going to be pretty exciting. So I'm going to post that link in I'm going to copy that link and post that in the chat as well. So Pulse Chain, we'll call it XSpace, I guess. XSpace, and of course the Pulse Chain DeFi DeFi Rising Stars. And bam, bam. All right, let's post that in the house. All right, so we're doing lots of cool stuff at the moment. Definitely check it out. So we'll be ramping up a lot of the stuff. So we've got something else that's coming up very soon, and then we got a bit of a roadmap of big things coming to Pulse Chain, including more publications as well as something really cool, which I think is going to be neat. So I'm not going to say it yet, but it's coming. It's coming. But that is it. XSpace Pulse Chain DeFi Rising Stars is the next big expansion of the Crypto Night Show. And so we're looking forward to it, MVS, myself, and our team's probably going to get a little bit bigger in the future because we're taking on so much more. So check that out there. All right. Don't forget to repost it so that everyone else gets to turn up as well. All right, so that is it from the Rising Stars, and you can see the teams that are going to be there. Crypto Paradise, Nuke the Supply, Nakamoto, Hartwood Dodd, and Mitchie. So definitely turn up to that, and we'll see you there on Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern. All right, so that is kind of cool. Now, one of the things I want to talk about quickly is Sun MInimeal, but we're going to get to that later on. So let's push that in the background, and we're going to come up to talk about the stock market results overnight. Don't forget to get in the comments as well, and any comments you got about anything happening on Pulse Chain or in crypto more generally, let us know. Let us know. Now, we did have Monday, of course, results for the stock market. S&P 500 closed higher on trade hopes, and of course, NVIDIA lifts the Nasdaq. So NVIDIA there with the big AI chips, right? Going to be funding, I guess, pushing or fueling, let's say, fueling the AI revolution. Which is obviously going to be massive impact over the next couple of years now that they've reached kind of critical mass with the physics it's going on. So Dow Jones up pretty much 0.1%, 35 points to 42,305. Let's look at the all-time chart there on the Dow Jones and see where that's good. Look at that chart, man. It's not quite all-time high at the moment, but man, it's not too bad. In fact, the all-time high was up at 45,000. So we're at 42,200, 42,300 at the moment. So not too bad at the moment. Now, the S&P 500 is up 0.4%, so a pretty good day on the S&P 500, up for 24 points to 5,935. And we can see it's not too far from its previous high. Unlike the Dow Jones, it's not too bad. I mean, it was 6,100. We're currently at 5,900, so not too far away from the top there. The Nasdaq at the moment is up 0.2%, so a really nice move there with NVIDIA lifting, and that is up 129 points to 19,242. And we're not far away from the all-time high there too, up near 20,000. So, that's not far away. I think we're going to start smashing that 20K. And I guess that brings in 25 to 30K. I mean, that's if you believe in the American, the golden age of America under Trump, then we're going to probably keep pushing higher, right? Rather than, tap out and this be the top, right? 20K be the top. So that's kind of where we're at the moment. The dollar at the moment, 98.6. Man, that has devalued. That is crazy. That's pretty much the lowest. Just about the lowest, not quite, in the last year. Look at that. That is crazy. Let's have a look over the 5 years, actually, because this is quite an interesting thing there. Wow. So since 2022, the lowest since 2022. Can you believe it? That is crazy. And that's on the back end, I guess, of the, all that terrible stuff that they did to us, right? You guys know what I'm talking about. So that's kind of where we're at the moment. Let's have a look at the commodities. We got West Texas and Brent oil still down dramatically. I mean, look at where it was, pre-Trump. It's pretty crazy. Let's go to the 6 month chart. We can see where we were. So 20th of January, right? So 20th of January. Look at how high it was, up at $78. That's when Trump came into power. And look, since Trump's come into power, look at that. It's come all the way down. In fact, it's been really low, even to $58. We're currently at $63. So Trump's already, crushed those numbers, right? So already crushed those numbers. And that's down 8 and 7, 15. So $15 at least on West Texas, and of course the Brent oil $65 as well. So pretty cool. Trump's delivering on lower prices, and of course that impacts the driving season in the US coming up. Of course, we've started summer now. You've started summer, so congratulations to you in the USA and up in Europe, I guess, all that places. Now we got gold at the moment, 3,400. Wow, it's just powering up, eh? And of course, we saw Morgan Stanley had 3,500. I think it's going to shoot past 3,500. We're currently at $3,405, and that's up today as well, 0.2%. Silver as well is up almost 0.4%, or just over 0.4, almost 0.5% actually, 15 cents to $34.84. We're starting to see silver break out, are we? Definitely. Look at that big jump in the chart there over the last 6 months. Look at that big jump. So we're getting back to this all-time high here again. We go up 5 years on silver. Man, we are. Look at that trend from silver. back in August 2022, we were down at just under $18. So August 2022, and look at this, over the last like three years, we have just rallied all the way up, and I think we're now about to go to new highs with the old silver. Could really run away. So if you've got a bag of silver sitting under your bed, this could be game on for you, right? Could be game on for you. All right, so not bad there, not bad. So let's get into some of the other stuff that's going on. Obviously, Trump and China still having a bit of fiasco, but I think that will probably all sort itself out based on Secretary Treasury what am I saying? The Treasury Secretary. So it's beginning a bit tongue-tied there. So that is coming up as well. Yeah, and so markets see the latest round of tariff threats and ramped up rhetoric against China, the EU, and steel as nudges to move negotiations forward to the finishing line. So people are starting to get it, starting to understand where Trump is heading with this. So that is very, very exciting. We are expecting to have a couple of trade deals potentially out this week. So that is a lot of pressure from the White House to get the deals in within a couple of days as well for extra deals. So we may very well have some good news this week, if not definitely next week. It seems they've got tons of deals lined up there, particularly 3 big ones, right? So that's kind of what we're looking for there. All right, so that is with the stock market, which leads us into crypto. And so let's go full screen here, shall we? In fact, I've still got Richard on the line. So let me I've got Richard on the line. That'd be pretty cool. Richard on the line. Hey, Richard, are you on the line? Let me see here. All right, so let us go to the bigger screen and
not a mystery. It is a repeat of the debt cycle.
So we got
they are rolling the debts. They are doing the same thing. Each cycle is not to do with a halving cycle. Nothing to do with any of.
Oh, that snuck up on me. That I thought they had that off, but I had it on. There we go. We'll play that later on, though. It's quite bullish. All right, so we've got the total market cap of crypto, $3.44 trillion. It is down 1.3% at the moment. And that we've been seeing that shaved off a little bit, haven't we, in recent days? But it's good news. So Bitcoin has bounced a little bit there, 0.4%, up to 105,887, just consolidating over 100,000. This is very important. So, with these trade deals potentially coming up, the tax bill as well, that's going pretty well in my books. Ethereum at the moment up 3%, $2,610. Nice little rebound there for Ethereum after that little relief rally all the way up. Looks like maybe it's consolidating, and when it goes for its next move, we'll start pushing back over 3,000 again, and that magic heart ride on Pulse Chain will start to look more normalized, let's say. We got XRP there at the moment up 1.2%, $2.20. And that's pretty cool. Number 4, BNB is up 1.1%, $666. We got Solana there at numbers up or down 0.1% at the moment, $157. Dogecoin there is down it's up 1.6% at 19.5 cents. Tron at number 9 is up down 0.7%, and that is sitting at just below 27 cents. Finally, at number 10, remember Tron flipped Cardano. And was it yesterday? And Cardano, they're trying to retrace, is at up 1% at 69 cents. So we'll see what happens there between Tron and Cardano. And definitely, around $25 billion market for both of those. So we'll see how they play out in the future. Looking at the best performer over the last 24 hours has definitely been Ethereum, up 3%. And over the last week, Ethereum up 1.9% has been the best performer. The worst performer has been a Dogecoin, down number 8, down 13.5%, followed not too far behind by Solana, down 10% there at the moment. So if you want to pick up some of these meme coin chains like Solana, it's probably a good time to do that if you're believing that the bull market is only just in front of us, and this is maybe the last train stop to pick up some really nice crypto. So you decide. All right, so that is where we are there at the moment. What's trending in the top 100? What's the best performers in the top 100? We got the SPX 6900 again. What's this, the fourth day in a row? Up 34%. So this has been performing like a boss, XPX 6900, at least 3 days in a row. It's been pretty impressive. And up 34% for the week, man. That's crazy. Up 10.8% again today. So that has been on fire. So it might be one you want to check out and see what that looks like at the moment. We've got Ton Coin or Telegram's Coin Ton. That's up 8% as well for the week. And then Kronos at number 3 is up 6.7% in the top 100, followed by Quant up 2.7% and Wrapped ETH at 2.1%. So those are the marks at the moment. So SPX, 6900, and Telegram have been the standouts there. And of course, we have seen Quant there as well up in the leaderboard. So it's been fairly consistent with these leaders in the top 100. All right, that takes us to top gainers at the moment. We got Build on BNB up 155%, Layer 3 up 34%, and WeMix up 56%. And then on trending, we've got Layer 3 is obviously their Maple Finance as well, 17%, and Athena there is also trending on the CoinGecko trending list. So that is pretty much it for the crypto markets there. And of course, we're going to get into Pulse Chain next. Obviously, we're going to cover the charts for Richard Hart's tokens Pulse, PulseX, and HEX and INC. At the moment, we're just going to do a quick review of where they are at the moment. And then we're going to get into the charts themselves after we've done the market update. So we're at day 752 at the moment since Pulse Chain launched. Remember, Pulse Chain launched on the 30th of May, 2023. We got the price of Pulse at the moment, quadruple 0327, down 4.4%. And it is weak, right? It is definitely weak. There's obviously we were challenging 4,200. We were hoping to hold 3,500, and we've gone below that. So we dropped 2 zones basically. So there's a deal bargain at the moment to pick up on Pulse. We got PulseX at the moment, quadruple 0282, down 5.3%, and the buy and burn sitting at 142 trillion is 7.18% of all PulseX has been burned, excluding the OA sacrifice wallets. We got INC at the moment, $1.45, down almost 5%, and that is also, a discount at the moment. That's pretty much all else you can say. HEX at the moment, 6,500th of a penny, down 6%. So HEX has been the worst loser today, or the best loser, you decide. And we got EHEX at 0.2 of a penny at the moment. So probably a good time for us to look at the charts and see where we think they might be going, because they've been breaking to the downside. Now, one of the reasons for this, of course, is that we had a little bit of a pullback in the market, sort of that sentiment, but we also had the thinning of liquidity by the pools, which means we can go up and down much easier. And we have got this big Remember token, doing up to 80% of volume at the moment. I just wonder whether that's playing into some of this weakness in the market. So you guys can decide on that, but that does seem a bit unusual. That's happened over the last 3 or 4 days, which is pretty similar period. I haven't matched it perfectly, but it does seem to be around the same time period there. We got gas prices at the moment. 3.4 million beats. It's been quite elevated, obviously, with the like I say, that Remember token turning over a huge amount of volume on there and doing a fair amount of the transactions, not all the transactions, fair amount of them on the Pulse chain. We've got the values at the moment is 50,736. Has been a nice little rebound. So there's been a bullish sign for Pulse chain. And then the bridge, let's have a look at where that's at today. 92.5 million. So pretty much in the similar zone that we've had the last 2 days. 3 days. So yeah, not much to say there. I noticed that DAI has gone down a little bit, below 22 million. So that is something that has happened. Let me take a snapshot of that too while I'm here, so that we can have a look at it over the next few days and see where that lies. I've got to find the snapshot. Where did I put that? All right, so let me take a snapshot of that, and let's see where it goes. And we'll have a check in on this and see, have a good, at least we've got a baseline, right? It's good to have a baseline to measure from. So that is where we are at the moment. It's at 92.5 million. So yeah, I think the highest we got was 97 million, approximately 98 million, a week ago or something, when we had that, before we had a bit of a retrace on the Pulse chain. So that's pretty much that. Let's jump into the top coins though. And let me know in the chat there what you've been looking at pretty much. So let me know about that as well. So let's go. All right, so we got, at the moment, we got Lambo at the top there. Now, someone said something about Lambo. I wish I had a Lambo or something. We're pumped to get a Lambo, and then we got a Lambo token jump. I just can't remember who it was. Like, I thought it might have been, was it Gerardo? I think it was Gerardo, was it? Was it Gerardo? May have said that. So we got Lambo token popped up not long after. It's up 14,000% at the moment. It's the number one on Dick Screener. Been around for only 9 hours. So let's have a quickly look at that. And I thought it might have been Gerardo. I'm not sure. I think it was. So we had a run up here to 0001843. Quite a bit of volatility in here, of course, between 1,400 and 1,800. But this is 47k market cap, 32k liquidity, and 247,000 in volume in just 9 hours. Now let's have a quick look at the quick checker here. Yeah, it says no issues there. Once again, you have to do some due diligence on that, but that has been doing pretty well. Like, volume there, what's about 7 times liquidity or something. 8 times, probably 8 times liquidity. It's pretty crazy, and maybe 9 times liquidity there, probably in 9. So up 14,000% there. So nice little gainer for those that managed to fluke that one. We got Spin at the moment. It's been around for 14 hours as well. It's brand new. Now I'm not endorsing any of these, of course. These are just what's on the list, right? So that's as simple as that. So do your own due diligence. That's very wise. Doesn't matter which influencer you're listening to, and do your own due diligence, right? We had 1,500th of a penny at the moment, so not too bad. Had a little bit of a spark, and then it came down all the way down to 00040,500, and way back up near to 1,500th of a penny. And that's got 75k market, 6,300 liquidity, so hardly any liquidity in there, but done 37,000 of volume, so not bad. Reserve Tay and Treasury Bill, it says there. Let's see if it's got any breakdown. It's got one issue on it, suspicious functions. Now, it's always hard to know what that means from Deck Screener. It's not always perfect, so you might want to pump that into the Midgard's little AI analyzer, which we showcased yesterday. Revolutionary 5-way reward and burn protocol designed to incentivize holders with Maria's intricate treasury system. So it's using some big brand tokens. One-to-one pegging narrative of Treasury Bill and its V2 trial there. The old narrative, that's maybe a key word there. Rewarding all holders from FDC and Treasury Bill, FD, DM, and BAR. So it looks like the reward tokens were also helping to reduce the supply. So there we go. That is this project. I'm not sure who's launched that, if it's just some random or what, but that is where we are. Now, we also got the little ETH token as well. This looks like it was probably just a pair here. RHETH, been around for 6 hours. This little pair that's doing pretty well. We're going to move past that, though, to Curve. Now, I saw someone, was it the Amish kid running around pushing the Curve token up 22% at the moment, so that is up as well. So yeah, the Curve token was launched anonymously by a real-world group of real estate professionals. So that's what they say. So you can decide. But at the moment, it's $313,000 market, 41k liquidity, and 26k in the volume. And it's this pair has only just been recently launched. Looks like the token's been around for some time. But what's it said? 2 months and 15 days. So it's been around for a little while, the Curve, and it's been pumped recently. That gets us to kind of the main event, which is Soil Sun MInimeal, the big corporate that may end up being worth $1 trillion in 5 years' time on Pulse Chain. Definitely got the Magic Carpet Ride on Magic Carpet Ride vibes, right? And Sun MInimeal there is going up, pretty strongly. So obviously we've got the Sun MInimeal is going to be attending the Arnold Schwarzenegger World Summit. And it's kind of an environmental summit, right? Of course, most of the issues there we just laugh at, right? Because it's all just globalist, Marxist nonsense. But we know maybe there's some issues that we can agree with. Obviously, healthy food, we can all agree with that, and that's what Soil Sun MInimeal is in, right? So very supportive of that. The rest of it, the fake climate change and all the rest of it, they can go jump in the lake with that one. But we're at 15.6 cents at the moment. And we're on the day, right? We're on the day pretty much here. Now, I'm a day ahead, so actually we have to move this to the 4th, don't we? Because I'm on the 3rd, so that's where we're tripping out here. But the RSI is kind of hot. I mean, it's on the daily, it's at 73. We were all the way up at 92 before we had that first little sell-off there by people that have, arguably free tokens. Now, obviously, to get those tokens, you have to buy Sun MInimeal, so you have to have that. But of course, with the price in crypto, you can get way big returns, right? It's kind of the play. So they would have made some nice little money there. We had another little seller here, sold some free tokens as well. So that was sell there, and we've managed to still keep riding up. Now, let's look at the 4 hourly and to quickly check that. So 4 hourly is in the slightly overbought territory. Like I say, last time we had the big rally, we got up to 92, which is pretty high on the RSI. Remember, 70 is overbought. And this is the one tool that you should use at least as a minimum if you're coming into crypto and you don't know much about it, and you don't want to buy the top, because so many people buy the top when they first come into crypto. Even people that have been around for a long time buy the top. But this is a very good tool for that. So we've got obviously a rise in RSI. The price has been rallying, of course, on the back of it. It's basically RSI, just more sales and more buys pretty much. And it kind of gives you an idea when it gets overbought. And at the moment, we're up at 15.6 cents. We were up at 15.68. So we're really up at, this almost this resistance zone, because we've been there before, right? We were back here on the 22nd of May. And here we are just climbing. So have we got enough room in here to go up? Yeah, well, I mean, we've done it before. So it's definitely plausible. At the moment, we're just sort of sitting around here on the RSI, around the 70 on the 4 hourly. at the moment. And if we look at the daily, we've got, the daily is sitting at 73 there. So it definitely could do it. We've got the big news. Now, the question is, of course, will we get sell event news, or will the news be so good, and will we get bigger investments coming, because the ramp now is going to lift its purchase power from 1 to 3,000 euros to 10,000 euros, right? It's currently 1,000 Soil token. Will it get to 10,000? That's what we're expecting the announcement to be. I think that's going to happen on the 3rd. So that's probably in the next within the next 24 hours. And so we could see this, if that is, if there's not just bullish news coming up, but actually there's a lot of big investors ready to start buying. Now, this is a big assumption, right? But it's based on some of the words that Wolfgang has been talking about. Then we might get a bit of action here. Otherwise, we may get a bit of a sell the news event, right? So that's the risk, the downside risk there at the moment. It might take us all the way down. It could even take us down all the way down to 8 cents. So just take care of the, we're back down to sort of this zone as possible. Now, the other alternatively, that's the bearish case. But a bullish case, of course, is that we could go to 21 cents. Now, we haven't seen that, right? So I talked about that back here on the 31st. But here we are already. We have definitely gone up, but we haven't gone up this strong, this strong. But then, if we take it to this date, then we've still got a bit of time, right? Still got a bit of time. Well, it's 21 cents there. So we got still got a bit of time here to close that gap, right? We might get some gold mode candles. That would definitely overheat the RSI, though. That would get us back up here into the 90s, right? That would probably get us back up here at 90s if we had a nice little gold mode candle up here. So we'll see. Maybe we'll just sit around here and then maybe taper off a little bit, depending on what the news is, and if there is actually some big investors waiting for that bridge to increase its amount, so that they can buy. If they were doing 100,000, they don't want to do 100 buys, right? They're going to wait a little bit potentially, and maybe also wait for the announcement as well to see how bullish that is, and that may include. Obviously, we're thinking it's going to include the website update, right? So that's what's going to happen. We're going to get a new dashboard there and wallet for the Sol MInimeal customers. And so, let's say there might be 100,000 customers or something. I'm just guessing. It was 70,000 last year, so it's already been 5-6 months. So it could be 150,000 customers now, right? It could be 150,000. And so they're all going to get wallets, and only a small fraction of them, maybe about 12,000 or so, have actually Soil accounts. So there's a fraction of that. And so, we're going to be interesting to see. And we might get a lot of buying from the customers from that. And we also may get a lot of buying from investors, like the investment firms that are going to be attending. So pretty bullish. There's also going to be a bridge between Soil token on Pulse Chain and the Sun and the credits that they have. So that with the credits, they can go and buy Sun MInimeal food, right? So it's a very clever little setup here that Wolfgang has thought of. So it's going to be pretty interesting. And then, of course, we may hear news about the plant production capacity is pretty much finished. They're doubling capacity. We've seen images of that. And also, we may hear about any expansion plans, particularly around buying commercial bakeries with these little breads, and also any other potential expansions they may have. So it could be quite interesting. We may get even some of the investment bankers that are there. Could be some deals made with them, and that could access their client base, and they could end up buying some Soil token. That could be massive, by the way. I just don't want to, that is with some of the big investment firms there in, like, I guess Austria and Germany and Netherlands, that sort of area. Could be pretty incredible, the amount of money that could flow into Soil token in a very short period of time, if all those things are lined up correctly, as Wolfgang's kind of been teasing a little bit about, and many things that he hasn't been able to talk about so far. So big corporate giant on Pulse Chain. We could see some pretty magical things here. And if you're in our strategy club, which links in the video description, if you want to join up to that, you'll find out about the forecast that I've got for Sun MInimeal. So definitely join up the strategy club. Well worth it. And we also got the top 10 as well, right? The top 10 on that. So that could be pretty exciting. So definitely join up for that. The strategy club links in the video description. All right. So that's where we are. And also be doing the monthly update. So let's do it yesterday, but we're doing a monthly update today for strategy club as well. So definitely worth getting in there. Only $35 a month. Super good value. And of course, the top 10 list has been performing very well. We're looking at a really good list there. So definitely get onto that one. All right. Good to see Blair in the house, by the way. Big shout out to you. All right, so that is sold to MInimeal, and of course we have seen a little bit of ramp up from them. Now this is that bread that we're talking about. Maybe end up buying commercial bakery there. And remember, 20% of net sales is expected to come over to Pulse Chain, funding millions, tens of millions of dollars. To be frank, tens of millions of dollars over onto Pulse Chain. Capital will be coming from MInimeal and buying the Sol token, bringing over US dollars. So it's going to be pretty exciting. By the euro to USD to USDC to Pulse to MInimeal. It's going to be pretty amazing, right? Pretty amazing stuff there. All right, so that's kind of cool. And yeah, lots of cool stuff. So they've had a little video yesterday. We see Wolfgang on there. Let me jump to that. So we've got Wolfgang here, and he's hired a new professor there to be working for MInimeal on the food. And so that's very, very exciting. And the whole food's going to be called high performance food. So that is, you get all the nutrients from the MInimeal. They're like this little biscuit almost, and it gives you all the nutrients you need with less calories, only 800 calories. So that's a pretty powerful thing, as you can imagine. So that is some of the things that have been coming up from MInimeal. And of course, the big summit is tomorrow, the third US time, or European time, I should say. That is mega news, and this is going to be this is the corporate giant on Pulse Chain. Could potentially be a $1 trillion market cap, the first one, and probably the only one, arguably, until we unless we get there's a defeater coming later on. But that is where we are at the moment. So pretty exciting. All right, this is sort of stuff that people want on Pulse Chain. Well, it's coming. And what will sneak through MInimeal is institutional investment. So people say, oh, when are we going to get institutions? How we do that? And it's not easy to do that, by the way. The only way I can see is only a couple of routes that we could get institutional investing. One of them is Rack and Rochelle, of course, with his venture capital connections, and maybe a few others, but actually pretty difficult. And now that Richard Hart beats the SEC, of course, that lays the foundation for doing things like that. But hey, look, I don't think we have to worry too much. I think MInimeal will be the way those investment banks will start coming in from Europe in particular. And we could see, if that all turns out to be very fruitful, we could see some pretty impressive re-rates on the Sol token. And of course, as you can see in the chart, it's been performing pretty well. So, and of course, one of the top performers on Pulse Chain. All right, so that's kind of the coverage there for MInimeal. Now, I did want to get into the Pulse Chain chart, so we'll do that. Before we do that, though, we're going to go through the rest of the list. We've got pump tires at the moment, up 6%, doing pretty well for pump tires. A PDC, the Greys, up 3%. Now, I'm hoping to have an interview with Prairie coming up, sort of their top analyst influencer out there covering this, and there are many good ones covering PDC. So hopefully we'll have that interview coming up very, very soon. So look forward to that. We've got Fetch token, or Oracle, is up almost 0.8%. And it does look like we are getting very close for the Signum Oracle to launch. So all the best to Stu out there. It's not easy to stuff, and looks like he's almost getting it to market. So fingers crossed on that. Then we've got Ink Dollar there from Fast Abdul. That is up 16%. So those are the ones in the green today. So not a lot, but we've been covering some of the winners there. Sol token is kind of the leader of the pack for the existing tokens, along with Curve and Pump Tires and PDC seem to be leading the way today. And then the rest of them all down. Look at that. All the rest of them are all down at the moment. Boo-hoo-hoo, boo-hoo-hoo. But of course, Pulse Chain is down, right? The Pulse Chain is down. That's why we're going to pick up on that as well. But before we do, let's get into the chat there and let us know, what you guys have been looking at, how you feeling about where the market's at the moment. Obviously, we're really feeling like it's just that last little moment before we get some real movement in the crypto space and altcoin season coming. Obviously, there's still relatively, 4th of July is kind of when Trump has to have the strategy in place, that it's like 4 weeks. But I am expecting a lot of good news during that time. Obviously, we're still in that kind of little technical moves at the moment with Trump and tariffs. But I really feel like we're going to have these trade deals coming potentially this week even. And if not this week, then definitely next week. There's at least 3 big trade deals lined up for Trump's signature. And they've just put out, a deadline of 3 days for people to get their deals in. There's 115 countries, so there's a lot of deals to be coming in. And then, of course, the tax bill is going through as well through the Senate, and then possibly back through Congress committees, and they'll get that through. And of course, all that needs to be done, all those major deals, and of course the the tax bill by the 4th of July, so that Trump has laid the foundation of his three-legged stool strategy. And yeah, it's the golden age of America from then. So going to be kind of cool. It's kind of where we are with that. Now, I just want to pull up the charts here. We're going to talk about Pulse Chain and get into all that. Let's pull up the Richard Hart coins. Pretty sure I've got these laid out here. Yeah, let's let me just pull the Pulse up first. I guess we're going to go to PLSX next. We'll go to INC after that. We're going to go to Pulse, and then we're going to go to HEX as well. We might as well do HEX while we're there, since we're dancing the dance, and that would be kind of cool. So let me just set these up a little bit. Get in the chat, as I say, as well. Any tokens that you kind of really like at the moment, let us know in the chat there as well. All right, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4 charts, and let's go 5 charts here, and let's get into Pulse first of all. So we'll go back to our previous view. Before that, though, let's have a drink. Cheers, everybody. Cheers. All right, let's jump back into the mix. Bam, down to Pulse Chain chart. Now, we've got obviously the chart. The price is down 4.8% today. In the last 24 hours, we've got a market cap based on these numbers of 249 million. I haven't reconciled those actually. I might go and do that. 249 million on market cap, and we got the liquidity there at 5.7 million. Now, you guys remember, to get onto CoinGecko top 100, you essentially have to be pretty much at $1 billion. And of course, there are one or two that are just slightly, I think number 99, number 100 are both slightly below 1 billion. Given any particular recent days, so that's kind of, to get in the top 100, you need that, right? So we're at 249 at the moment. Now, obviously, market can be manipulated, and it's what do you include, what you don't include. A bit Pi Network's a bit like that, right? They've got most of their tokens are not even in circulation; they're locked away. So that should actually drop down a lot, right? Instead of being like number 30, 35, it should be probably not even the top 100. At least so maybe it still would be in the top 100, but pretty low down. We got liquidity at 5.1 million. We got volume at 1.3 million, so still turning over pretty good volume on the old Pulse, obviously with the chain there. And we've got Remember token, had been doing pretty well. Now, it wasn't a top tokens today, was it, the Remember token, but had been in the last couple of days. Still turning over a lot of volume now. I think the volume's down at like 30 million or so turning over. I forgot to talk about that, so we might end with that later on. So let's go full screen on this and have a look at our chart. So this is a daily chart for Pulse. And we've had all these lines on here. We've definitely got this lower. So let's get to the support. So we bounced off pretty much this 31st of March. We're down at the bottom at 401,600. So that was after that ruthless sell-off. And of course, that sell-off was exacerbated by the fact that incentive token inflation had been cut 20x. The liquidity had been dropped dramatically, like something I think like $200 million or something had been dropped dramatically. And so it went down even further, right? And we had all that news 31st of March. But since then, we've been back on a slow rebound, which is actually kind of nice, right? We didn't get any sort of V recovery. We're kind of on a slow push out from the bottom, which I think is kind of nice. Kind of nice, I think. We've got Brendan House there. Cheers. Yeah, you got the coffee there or tea. Yeah. And so I think that's kind of nice that we're kind of slowly itching our way back as opposed to some sort of violent, sharp recovery. And here we are. We've got high lows. So we had a high low at quadruple zero 2,500. Let's say let's round that number 2,500. And it looks like we've possibly got another one here forming. So let's say. Let me just change this because I've got a few. I probably should just copy it and paste the other one, but never mind. It's too late now. And we got this higher low. If I can make it straight. Let's see if we can make that straight. Bam. Let's see if I can make that straight. So it's not. It still looks crooked, but let's see. All right, how's that looking? That's all right. All right, so that is at 3,250. So let's say. So we're down here. We had a high low at 2,456. Remember that we were all the way down here at 1,600. So we've come quite a bit away there. Quite a bit away. Let's do a little measuring rod, shall we? So we're kind of, kind of up there. Let's say, let's just be accurate. Actually, let's be accurate with it because that was a bit lazy of me. Let's go right from the bottom and let's go all the way up here. So going to the bottom there, we're up pretty much 50% in 35 days. So is that something you would have thought of at the, on the 31st of March? Would we be up 50%? People would say, but we're up 50% on 35 days. And then, of course, let's see where we went from there. So we went 35 days. And currently, let's assume that today, yesterday or the day we just finished is the bottom. There'll be a 32% gain in 28 days. So we had 50% in 33 and 32% in 28 days. So, every month we're adding a bit more volume from the low perspective. And if we take it from the way at the bottom here and we go all the way up to where we are at the moment, then we're up 96% in 64 days. So that's almost a 2x in 64 days. So 2 months to get a 2x, which is way better than the bank, arguably. But of course, you would have had to buy the very bottom, which would have been a bit of a fluke, though. So there we go. That's where we're up 96% at the moment, 64 days. So we're slowly creeping up in terms of higher support value. Now that assumes, of course, that we hold on to this market 3,300. Obviously, we really wanted to hold on to 3,500. It's kind of in this zone. We had kind of a lot of resistance at that zone, and we've broken down through that. So there really is no really obvious horizontal support here, really, apart from maybe a one day candle, but not really a lot of obvious strong support there. And I've only got the 50-day and the 30-day in there, but we might switch that out. What do we get in terms of highs? Well, our first high was 3,600. So we did pretty well doing that off the bottom. So moving to 3,600, and we did that. Let's say we did that, and we had a few spikes, but let's say we did that in about 24 days. That was 117%, so 2.2x, and then we ended up rising again. So from this one here, we ended up rising, to 78% in 17 days. So yeah, even though we had those lower averages from the bottom in terms of supportive value, we actually did even better than that, 78% in 17 days there. Taking it from the bottom, therefore, we ended up, let me find here. I'll go back there. We ended up, we ended up actually rallying 168% in 52 days. So that's a pretty good move, right, on Pulse Chain. That's a 2.7x in 52 days. You can't argue much about that. That's pretty good. And coming off the bottom, so not bad there at the moment. But of course, now we're up just below a 2x at the moment on the market, which is still pretty good in 63 days. And so, yeah, it might be a bit of a waning thing. We've obviously had quite a few, pretty much close to a week of decline since that time. So it's kind of good. That changes the sentiment a bit. But maybe the sentiment's going to run its course, and maybe we will hold this 32 mark here. There's not a lot of horizontal support, as I say. We are below the yellow line. The yellow line is the 50-day. The 50-day is currently at about 3,500, which is the mark we wanted to hold, right? We want to hold that mark, and we did break that. So really, it's just like, wow, where's the next area? Well, the only next obvious area below that is 2,900, which is just below 2,900. So, we had some resistance there. You can see some more resistance here as well. And we had some support here as well. So, if we take that line, that is kind of, I guess, where we could reasonably argue on the side there. Where did I go here? We've got this here. So that line there is where we might have some horizontal support because there's not really any moving averages there. Now, I can hide these moving averages, so we're going to do that. And we're going to put it in the shorter time frames, right? The 9-day and the 34-day. And that's going to give us a different cross here. So we had a little bullish cross here, obviously, on the 9 days. So 9-day, these are the shorter time horizons now. So I've moved from the 50 to 200-day to the 9 and 34. And the 9-day there, that short-term one, is now just crossed a bit of a death cross here. So, yeah, are we going to go down to 2,900? We shall see. But I think we're going to have probably positive news in the marketplace this week, hopefully. We get those trade deals out that could turn things to the upside. We're probably, Pulse Chain may follow the crypto market a bit late, maybe a day late or something. We shall see. That is where Mark is at the moment. So, yeah, we'll see. And we might get a little bit. We had a death cross back here, remember, back on the 3rd, and it was very short-lived. It was very short-lived indeed. In fact, when it crossed, we had already had something similar to what we've got now. We got a red day, and then we ended up having green days and a reversal anyway. So we're either going to obviously have the support at 3,200, where we are now, or we might end up even going down to 2,900. Now, then we can check our RSI, right? Our RSI was down at 39, and we're currently down where we are there at the moment. So if we hold this on the RSI, just like we did back here on the 4th of May, and we also had a little baby death cross there, that may be a very short-lived, pitted out death cross, and we're back onto a golden cross again very shortly after, and within a couple of days. So that's kind of where we may end up landing at the moment. If not, if we go all the way back down to 2,900, this RSI is going to little tinker down and get into oversold territory, and then we could bounce off there. We'll still have, if we do get to 29, that would still give us a higher low, and our uptrend would still largely be intact. So, but this would be a better zone right where we are right now. But once again, if we still got a higher low, that's a pretty good uptrend still intact. Not as strong, but still ability to move higher. So yeah, if we can hold this area at the moment, 3,200, we did break the moving average, of course, to 35, then that would lead us on to greener pastures. And I do feel like we've got some good news potentially in the next week that could do that. So particularly trade deals, right? That's what we're looking forward there. So yeah, economic news is going to be really important, I think, in the next week or two for the whole market. And we're also seeing Bitcoin, of course, stay over 100K. That's a very bullish sign that's consolidating, and that it has a chance to move higher into that 130 to 150 mark there at the moment. So bring it on, as I say, bring it on. So that's kind of the overlay. Let's add back in the big moving averages. You can see we've got a lot of convergence here at the moment between the 34-day, the 9-day, and the the 50-day, all converging here right where we are above us at 3,500. So 3,500 was such a key mark. That's why a lot of people are talking about it. We had Nick the other day, Hellman, talking about that too. And yeah, here we are at the moment at 32, 3,300. So let's see. Hopefully we can hold this line. Give us quite a nice strong gap too in terms of higher low. So let's bring that on as well. Now, obviously, that's kind of the downside. The upside, of course, I think that if we break this line at 4,200, which is up here, this 4,200 mark, that's the one we failed to break, right? Because we had such a nice little run there, as we talked about. Then the next target, of course, seems to me to be way up here at 5,900. So that would be a nice little rally. And from here, where we are at the moment on the upside scenario, so we talked about the downside. The upside scenario is an 83% move. That would be pretty exciting, right? And we've seen our other moves, right? So we had this move here was, let's say it was approximately 19 days. I mean, it could be a bit longer depending on what you're talking about. So 19 days. This one here was, 17 days. So, it's pretty similar numbers. So let's take a medium of that, and let's say 18 days. So 18 days would give us, possibly an 80% move, and that would be by the 20th of June, using those two averages, which are pretty similar in this case. Now, coincidence, of course, but we've got a nice little uptrend in place, so the structure is probably fairly strong. Maybe that average is a pretty good average, so that would be 80% gain if we hold this line at 3,200, and things turn around very quickly, right? Just like in here, like we had this sell-off down here. And it wasn't quite as brutal as this one. It was a little bit more brutal in some ways, but the down range was pretty hard, right? So the down range was how we far down, 31%, and this one here was 27%. So it wasn't actually as bad, actually, but we got a lot more red candles there. We did have a little green reprieve in here in the mix here on the 1st of May. So actually, we could see another move up for a higher trend and really start to break these highs as well. If we break up to there, that could be up to 5,900. So, the bull case is pretty attractive, certainly consistent with the trend at the moment. So you'd have to say that's more probable than not, given the fact that we're still an uptrend here. So we shall see, particularly bullish if we hold this 32 mark, right, for that probability. I don't know, let's give it a 65, 66%, maybe 2/3 even chance of being more likely than the bearish scenario. But moving down to 2,900 or 2,800 here. So yeah, going to be fun to see, and it could all happen within 18 days. So instead of having your red face on, you'll have the green face on in a couple of 2.5 weeks or something. So cool. That is kind of where we are on Pulse Chain. That's just the daily. Now, obviously, we can use 4 hourlies to see where the trend is going. We're definitely on the oversold territory here. So on the 4 hourly, and so we had that 4 hourly play out. That gives a lot more support to the more bullish case that we're going to stay at this level as opposed to break down again to that 2,900 level. So that's kind of cool. We can also take the longer term view instead of daily and 4 hourly. We can have a look at the weekly view and see that the RSI is slowly tracking up in an uptrend. Still got higher lows in it, still got higher highs in the RSI. So yeah, if we can defend this line, we've still got plenty of room to move. 44 on the RSI, man, we can go 70 plus, right, up into the oversold. And of course, we have managed to get up to 66 on occasions here So let's see whether we can manage that. Maybe we'll just slowly just trigger up there and have another go for another move higher. And that high there, by the way, was after two runs on here on the chart here. We basically had 2 here, but I just have a feeling we're probably going to have 3 now. We defeated the SEC after all, and we've got this bullish trade fundamental news coming up, and Bitcoin's over 100K. So the whole market environment's different. So it could be game on there, and eventually we'll break out on the weekly. Break these previous local tops, right? This local top here. So our current local top has been 4,600. Previously, back on the 2nd December 24, we're up at 409, so we're almost back at the SAC price. And then, of course, we'd been up at 0002 a long time ago. Now 4th of March 2024, and so on. And of course, this red candle here, you guys know it, the SEC candle, right? 31st of July 2023. Boo, boo! That caused, look what it did to the chart, man. Brutal. But we slowly crept back up. Had a nice little run there, and of course we saw some magic carpet ride money come in, right? $15 million, I think it happened twice, didn't it? Some big money coming in there. And what Richard Hart said in his recent video, you guys in the community are the sell button. Stop being the sell button or whatever. I can't remember exact phrasing, but take heed. Richard definitely did take heed on that. So yeah, we could be on the road to glory now on the old Pulse chain, and you guys were here, right? You guys were here buying. So I think you're going to be pretty happy in the future once we get the bull run on the move. There's really nothing holding us back now. The SEC was defeated. Let's take a moment to think about that. The SEC was defeated. We have all these on-ramps coming on in the last couple of weeks. We've got more coming. We got MInimeal, big corporate. We've got the magic carp ride. Probably going to benefit from the altcoin season coming up. Trump's laying out a strategy. It is going to be golden. You got to be excited. The fundamentals are fantastic. And I think the TA is definitely looking more likely than not to the upside. So bring it on. Might be a little bit depressing the last couple of days, but I think it's looking pretty good in the future. All right, now that is where we are at the moment on Pulse. We just use some RSIs, we use some trends, we use some moving averages, short and long, just to derive that sort of commentary and analysis there. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Let's quickly look at PulseX. Now, I'm not going to particularly look at the PulseX price targets on this one today. I just want to look at the ratio to pulse, right? That's kind of what we're looking at there. And so let's have a look at where this is at the moment on the old ratio. Now, you guys know we're in this mega uptrend against Pulse. So a lot of people saying, oh, well, what should I get? Should I get Pulse? Should I get PulseX 50/50 or something like that? Yeah, so we will see. We're all heads. What's the Brent say? I think RH meant don't be a jeet. Yeah, don't be a jeet. Yeah, I think that's the one. Commentary. I do have a little bit of Richard Hart stuff, but it's more about this. So we might as well. And I'll play that at the end. But this is an uptrend here. This is the ratio of PulseX to Pulse. So we saw that Pulse, if we can hold this line, is very bullish to the upside. And maybe if that plays out similarly to what we've had the last 2 rises. It could be like 18 days and we could get the upside there. And I think it's more probable than the downside scenario, given all the fundamentals in TA. Obviously, volumes play a big play there. I didn't do a lot of commentary on that, but volumes obviously. And so here we are on the daily. And look at this mega uptrend. I mean, we've been in a mega uptrend here for a long time. Now, I'm not going to take these slightly earlier places, but if you did take them, that would be even slightly longer. But let's just take it from when we really started to break up on this trend. And one could arguably take it from the 11th, but we're just going to take it from the 31st and take it up to here. So that's 520 days that PulseX has been in a mega uptrend against Pulse. I'll say it one more time. 520 days. It's pretty insane, right? Pretty insane. You got diamond hands. Did you trade out back into Pulse? Because if you're in PulseX, you were up. And of course, we saw here back in this yellow dome, we saw we got over 1-to-1 briefly, didn't we? We got over 1-to-1. In fact, the high there was pretty glorious. But we got over 1-to-1. I'm just trying to get into there. We got to 1.03. So where PulseX was worth more than Pulse. Pretty crazy, right? And of course, the US dollar correspondingly so, right? Now, here at the moment, we're sitting at 0.86. So one PulseX is worth 0.86 of a pulse. So it's still, not as valuable as Pulse at the moment, relatively speaking, in terms of the unit equivalents. And but man, it doesn't take us much to get up to 1-to-1, does it? It doesn't take us much, and this mega uptrend is not going away. Now, what would make it continue to go up? Well, the trend obviously is your friend, and that is we've got a pretty powerful buy and burn going on. We've got obviously a lot of volumes being routed through with these printer tokens like Remember, doing up to 80% of the volume on Pulse Chain and ramping the volume up to like 60-70 million dollars instead of 20 to 30 million dollars, which we kind of been getting before that. It is crazy, right? We've got obviously pump tires playing a little bit of role out there. Probably not as much as it used to, but certainly out there as well. And yeah, it's pretty crazy. We've got lots of new projects being launched every day, a couple each day at least, maybe more, probably dozens of them, but many of them don't, aren't significant. Don't even get onto the low retail level. So this is pretty mega. So yeah, and where's it going to go? So a lot of people are saying, oh, should I get the Pulse or PulseX or what should I do? Well, obviously the trend of PulseX is your friend, and it's telling you that it's getting more valuable. Now, obviously, as we move into a bull market and we get altcoin season, maybe altcoin season is triggered by Bitcoin hitting a certain mark, maybe 130K, maybe it's triggered by an interest rate cut from 4.5% on the federal funds down to 3.5. Maybe Chairman Powell finally capitulates. He went to the White House yesterday. I don't know if many of you knew that. Obviously, Trump, they're trying to get him to move. Also, rumors on the street talking about him having to step down. We shall see about that. But I think that if he can get those interest rate cuts, it could be pretty important. Now, they've been late to move, right? So it does seem very politicalized. They're not moving, trying to use tariffs, volatility as an excuse. But many other central banks around the world have already cut their rates, and it's time for the Fed to do it. It's trying to dampen down the U.S. economy. Remember, Trump's dealt with oil prices. That's got everything cheaper in manufacturing in the material world, because obviously oil's probably in 85-90% of products in some way. And of course, interest rates are the fundamental input for financial markets, right? Money. And so that affects everything to do with money. And so getting that down to 3.5% is very bullish. Now, you can only really do that when inflation is low, and inflation is really not that high. And also that Trump is, and you've got somebody that's expanding supply, and that's what Trump is doing, right? The Democrats are lunatics, right? They really throttle back supply, whereas the Trump administration is expanding supply, and that's how you keep prices down, right? Is one of the main things you do to keep prices down. And so yeah, it's game on from here. So that's kind of where we are at the moment, and I suggest this is going to get even bigger, right? So we may see this go up higher and higher and higher. So let's go to a longer time frame, and let's go through I guess we'll try the monthly one. Let me just reset this here. And let me go. We got the reset there. Let me go auto log. Actually, I might go to weekly actually because it's a little bit naffy. Let's go to week. Yeah, it's a bit better. So weekly chart here, we may see some pretty crazy stuff with this ratio, right? As we move forward in time. Now, moved it off auto, but we're going to, potentially see some pretty crazy moves to the upside here. We could end up going to 2x, 3x times pulse as we move forward into this bull market, right? So it's going to be pretty fun to see all that play out, and we may see some more God mode candles move us up as people buy PulseX, because as the prices get more valuable, Pulse and everything else, the quality projects that are leveraged against Pulse will get a higher ratio, and you'll see DEXs and top quality farms and DeFi start to get repriced in it at the moment, instead of just printer tokens, meme coins, and what's the other thing that's been doing kind of well lately? Pump tires, kind of these kind of things doing well. You could end up seeing a lot of those classic DeFi, those quality sort of stable DeFis start to re-rating. Liquid Lines, the Power Cities of the world, Magic Carpet Rides, maybe. But definitely the DEXs and the farms, right, will all start getting more inflated, and therefore they'll be valued more than Pulse, the fee coin, right? And so we should see those all start to move. But really, we're already seeing this big uptrend in PulseX already, because people already kind of know that this is going to be outperforming, especially with Pulse being down, right? Pulse is down. So this is going to be pretty interesting seeing this moving ahead. Now, obviously, a lot of people say, oh, what should I do? Should I buy, Pulse or PulseX? And of course, you can do a split strategy. That's a pretty nice little risk average. Keep half in Pulse and then half in PulseX, which is quite a good thing. You can use that Pulse to buy other good stuff too. I mean, that's the other side of it. But of course, if PulseX does continue this uptrend, and it does end up being, we're 2 Pulse or 3 PulseX, then, take into account that you would have been able to switch that back into Pulse and then buy more of the good stuff. So it's kind of the play at the moment. Now, we may also see big holders come in and just buy Pulse, right? And it could reverse this a little bit. So it will depend on who's buying and how much. So obviously, if someone came in and decided, well, Pulse is the whole chain's getting revalued, I'm going to come in and buy a whole ton of bag of Pulse, not PulseX, then that would be a little different there. But maybe they see the same view. That as everything gets more expensive, then the dexes and the farms are more expensive, and so they all go up. So that means PulseX goes up, Signum token goes up, and of course 9mm goes up, 9-inch goes up, and then the related farms like Nexion, Emmet, these all get more valuable, as well as all the lending protocols with stable coins, like all the liquidity forks, PUSD, liquid loans, ink printer, all like. So we probably typically see all that happen as well. And then it's going to be pretty interesting to see where all this heads. So 1-to-1 at the moment. Is it going to be 2-to-1? We copy this chart here, and we move up to 2-to-1, right? And then 3-to-1. It just all keeps going up, and up we go. 3-to-1. So this is kind of why we think that's going to go up, because all those volumes get valued. That means all the dexes are more valuable, and therefore the market switches a lot of their Pulse and stuff into PulseX, 9mm, 9-inch, and things like that, relative to obviously the success of each of those protocols. But PulseX being the lower one. Now the other thing, of course, is that's just the cycle impact that we would reasonably expect based on last cycles and just logic there. But also, if we get third-party protocols. So let's say we get the Master Chef contract getting handed over to the incentive people for voting from Richard Hart, then that gives a lot more value to that. We could end up seeing single-side staking and all sorts of other reward pools coming into that mix. Obviously, there's a lot of third-party protocols out there offering benefits for PulseX holders and the like, incentive token, HEX, of course, and that's even more bullishness, right, for taking supply, putting more demand on. And then, of course, Richard Hart may have a number of protocols as well that end up using Richard Hart coins. We could have wallets, we could have stable coins, we could have a big DeFi platform with collateral backing. Could even see potentially the OA sacrifice funds used to support some of those tokens as well, some Richard Hart tokens. And then there's the secondary theory, right, which is more around wrap Bitcoin, that Richard Hart brings in wrap Bitcoin, but he could do it all, right? He could do it all potentially if he's got the collateral to do it. So we could see a lot of that stuff play out as well. We've got a comment in the chat there. We've got Pulse Altcoin says hard to recommend 9-inch as a serious DEX after we're wallet training the community with Conquest. Yeah, so I'm not recommending at all. I don't remember me recommending at all in my commentary. Did I recommend it? No. All I said is that they'll all get re-rated. Let's take that into account. All right, so that is where they are, right? So all these DEXs and farms potentially get re-rated. So you've got to listen very carefully to what I said. That's all I'm going to say. All right, so we're going to an INC at the moment. Let's go to INC. We've got INC at the moment, obviously moving down lower lows. And we've got at the moment 9.6 on the weekly. So $9.8, basically $10, isn't it? $10.20 here back on the weekly candle here for INC. And of course, we're not going to go all the way back to the beginning essentially, but we were up at $80.69 for INC back then. Of course, things have changed a lot since then. But now we had a lot of inflation during this period. We also, now that has been turned off, right? So it's been turned off, and we're now at $1.46 at the moment. We've had Rack and Rochelle come in and buy INC token, and here we are on the RSI, sitting at 45 on the RSI. So that is the key part there at the moment. And here we are at $10. We were back up here in the local high, and we've had other highs around $4.30. We even got back there another time, $4.23. And now we're back down here at $1.46. Recent low was all the way down at 90 cents. And we've seen how quickly this can recover. I mean, we were down here at $1.07, and we recovered all the way up to $2.13 only in like 2 weeks. So that was pretty impressive. And of course, Rack and Rochelle was picking up some there too, the big whale on Pulse Chain. A low, of course, has been down here on the 11th of December. We were down at 39.5 cents down here. And we're up from there, right? So we're up from there at the moment. So $1.40. $1.46. So, if you managed to buy it all the way back then, you actually got a bit of a recovery. And like I say, if we could have third-party protocols, maybe the Master Chef contract handed over to incentive token voting and DAO, that all gives a pretty massive increase in the INC token. Also, if Richard Hart, brings out big third-party protocols, whatever they might be, a wallet, a stablecoin setup, a DeFi setup, this could all get suddenly re-rated pretty dramatically. And maybe I don't know if we'll see back $80 instantly, but people are calling for $100. Some people are even calling for $1,000. I'm certainly, you guys know in the V pools, I think it's on a V2 pool. It all goes up pretty fast at a square value, right? And so we could see some pretty magical things. There are about 55 million tokens, but there's virtually none being emitted, like 2,600 a day. So it's not a lot of tokens being emitted anymore. So anything that eats up that supply and puts more demand on could see a pretty big re-rate in the price here as well. So kind of cool. And really, how much of the supply of that 55 million is in LP pools at any one particular point in time? That also will affect how quickly the chart will move up and down depending on what news is happening in the INC market there. So yeah, not a bad buy zero era at the moment, $1.46. Obviously, recently you'd been able to pick it up for $90 about 2-3 months ago. 90 cents 2-3 months ago. But now it's at $1.46. That's kind of play there. You can see the RSI as well on the weekly, sitting below. It's like about 45 at the moment. Let me just pull it up in a minute. All right, so we're going to pull that up. So RSI is sitting here at around 45, so on the weekly. But let's go to the daily and have a look at where we are on there too. We're well oversold down at 40, and we've previously been here. The last time we got a low, we were down here as well at around 40 on the RSI. So maybe this might be a very low here. We've certainly got some degree of support at $1.35. You can see here we've had a lot of spikes at that level, and so we've had a bit of resistance there, but even more solid resistance at $1.27. So that's kind of where we are. So let's see how we go. But if, of course, we get that pulse play out, then maybe this is the low. Otherwise, you're probably looking at $1.25 as a reasonable entry should the bearish case play out. And still got room for the RSI to actually continue to go down the 30 mark. We've been down at the 30 mark before on 30th of March. So yeah, if we manage to hold this like we did back on the 3rd of May, then maybe this is a nice higher low. And then we can start moving up in the INC tokens. That's kind of where we are there at the moment. We got HEX at the moment. Let's go to HEX on Pulse Chain. So let's got HEX on Pulse Chain at the moment. We're at 6,500 of a penny at the moment on HEX. This is on the weekly time frame as well. And we've got the moving average here of 50 days, currently at 1 cent. 50 days at the moment, 1 cent on the mark here. So yeah, I'm sure we're going to get back there pretty quickly. You can see, this week here we jumped pretty large. This week here we moved from just under half a penny to almost 1 penny. It was 9,100. So that was almost a 0.5 cent move in that day. So I mean, you're down here this week at 6,500 a penny, but on the right news, we're going to easily see a 0.5% re-rate to a cent. And as you guys know, once you get over a cent, if you get the right momentum, just like we had back here in September, you can get quite a strong re-rate pretty fast, and it all happens pretty gloriously. I suggest that we may see even a bigger one coming up, but that was a 5.4x back in September. Now, of course, we have the the SEC defeated. So we may see something like this again very soon. And of course, Richard Hart teased as much, right? He teased as much coming up also. So let's hear from Richard Hart about God mode candles.
You could get a God candle at any moment. You could get a giant green candle at any moment because it's easier to get them because it takes less economic energy because there's less of it for sale. You could get a God candle at any moment.
So that was from Richard Hart there. And so, yeah, you could get a gold mode candle at any moment. And we may see something more aggressive than even what we saw back here in September. And then once it does get on an uptrend, it's going to be vicious to the upside, right? It's going to, once we do break out, all this stuff will re-rate very quickly. People will jump over each other to buy in, and away it goes, right? The whole sentiment changes on an uptrend. If you guys remember uptrends before, particularly, obviously we always go back to the 13 parabolics for HEX. But man, it is going to be pretty crazy. And we saw a number of God mode candles, right? I think it was somewhere around April 23rd, somewhere in that ballpark for the HEX God mode candle, 2020. And then, of course, we saw on the New Year's Eve candle on the 31st of 2020. And we saw those sort of things and how that affected the charts moving forward. So yeah, we could reasonably, now that Richard's talking about God mode candles again, we could reasonably see one of those within a couple of months of him saying that, right? So that is the big key. Now, I do think that certain triggers, like maybe the interest rate cuts, something like that, may trigger a God mode candle. We shall see where he lays the land on that. But keep very close to what he's saying. He's definitely been ramping up his commentary on Pulse Chain, talking about bridges and all sorts of other things like that. You can see that in the monster thread. it is pretty awesome. So things are starting to heat up there. What will his actual playbook look like when he plays it? It's going to be a lot of fun, but it'll be very telling. He's already done a number of playbooks, right? Number of signals this year with thinning out the liquidity pools, lowering the inflation on both incentive token and HEX. And of course, that was pretty dramatic. And so things are really being set up for a move to the upside. And of course, beating the SEC was the key fundamental trigger there. Obviously, the Interpol issue is still being dealt with, but apparently that's being pushed forward. So yeah, it could be absolutely game on. And he's been talking about forking wallets and stable coins, on ramps, third party on ramps, and things like that. It is getting pretty exciting. Richard Hart is definitely sending us signals about where things are going, and leadership as well. The leadership that people are talking about. And of course, doing that video was very powerful. Obviously, if he does a live stream, he doesn't even have to do it as regularly as he used to do. Once he does the Interpol thing, he could be able to do that sort of stuff, and we could get game on. But in any case, he could do more videos with the black background. That could be pretty bullish. So game on there. Now, HEX at the moment, 1 cent is the target market there, so we'll keep a lookout for that. And if we go to the daily chart here, we can see, let me just auto log this, and we can see at the moment we've got the daily, we've got 1 cent on the 200 EMA, and we've got 3/4 of a penny at the moment on the 50-day. Obviously, we're below the 50-day at the moment, so we're just going to have to chill here until we get a bit of a move up. But RSI is looking kind of friendly. So we may go down to the bottom there. It's not, the structure is not quite as clear on the HEX chart. But I think once we get a bit of a move on, we do have good support at 6,200. We're currently at 6,500 at the moment on the horizontal. That's probably the clearest as day stuff there. That would take us definitely a bit closer to the 30. So yeah, let's see if we can defend this area here. Certainly, given PulseX and MIRPulse's act and incentive token that we just looked at, we should hopefully have a little bit of support around above 6,000 or 600, 6/10 of a penny, let's say, or above. So bring that on, bring it on. All right. Don't have the short time frames on here, but that is where we are on those 50 and 200. You can add in a 9-day and a 34-day EMA if you wish. All right. So I'm just cognizant of time. We're currently at an hour and 17 minutes. So I've gone a little bit over my hour and 15 target that I normally try to do. We've got HEX at the moment on Ethereum. This is obviously the version on Pulse Chain, and it is EHEX. And actually, no, this is Uniswap on Ethereum. Sorry, my bad. It's on V3 Pool though. So we're at 0.2 of a penny over there on EHEX, and we've got 1.2 billion market cap apparently. Because that doesn't get us onto the top 100 on Dex on CoinGecko or Ratbags. But we're at if they can include a Pi network, they should be able to include HEX, right? We got liquidity there at 375k, 125k volume on EHEX. Now, obviously, Dipcatch is out there doing his HEX Flex second layer, which I think is fantastic. I don't know why some people, there's a small part of the community, very small part, I would argue, that fud him on that. But actually, it's a pretty damn good idea. Remember, the tokens are wrapped, so you got that sort of protection, I guess. You have to look at the code, nevertheless. But Dipcatch is a well-respected developer in our ecosystem. And obviously, the Maximus DAO is going to be one of the two big whales out in the future, along with HEX Gold Whale. Those two are the big giant whales in HEX moving out past 2030. So yeah, it's going to be pretty fun to see that play out. Now, we got volume at the moment, 125k, 0.2 of a penny. Recently, we had a little spike up here to 2200th here on the 4 hourly. Let's go to a longer time frame though, and then a daily, and we'll auto log that too. We'll go full screen mode, down 1% today, so not too bad. We got the structure's not quite as clear as some of the others, obviously with Pulse being a lot clearer. But we've still got a slightly higher low here, very subtle though. And so we're still looking for a bit of direction, a bit like HEX. So HEX is a little bit muddier than the other charts, which are a lot clearer view. But I think once those start moving up, because they're looking pretty positive, HEX is probably a lot more positive than the chart looks like. So that's kind of where we're at the moment. Let's add in some indicators though on here. So we've got RSI, and we can see the RSI is pretty low. So it gives you a good idea, given how bullish the other charts are, that we may very well get a turn here coming up here. That being said, we do have still got a bearish scenario potentially that could play out. And like I say, that might get us down to maybe 1/1800th of a penny. We've got a lot of support there and a lot of resistance, as well as that would probably get us close to the 30 oversold mark. So that's kind of the down scenario. The up scenario, of course, could be pretty beautiful, given the fact that we're all the way down here at 37, and we, that could get us a nice little rally all the way back up here. I don't know, might get to 27, might get to 3. I mean, those are the two previous local tops on the daily. So we'll have to keep a look at that. But let's add in some more indicators. Let's add in EMAs. We're adding 2 of those, right? And we're going to add in the 50-day. So let me just adjust these a little bit. So we're going to take my yellow. You guys know I love yellow for 50-day. And let's do the inputs there. Now you can also obviously add in a 9-day and a 34 to get the shorter time frames. So let's add in a 200. And we're going to style there. And you guys know I love orange for the 200-day. We're going to thicken that up too. And that is it. So that is where we are at the moment. So that gives us a nice little average at the moment. So we've got 2300th of a penny for the 50-day. And we've got 2600th of a penny, just over a quarter cent for the 200-day for HEX on Ethereum. This is the Ethereum pool V3. And so we've got a little bit of upside. We're obviously down below that at the moment. We have, struggled to be below that. Was pretty short-lived, but this has been a lot longer. I think we've got a fairly good chance of turning point with the downside, maybe at 18, 19, let's say 1800 on the downside, but the upside probably a lot more stronger, especially given PulseX and Pulse and INC that we looked at, especially the PulseX were much clearer structures. We could very much lift back up here. And given what we had last time, we could quite easily go over the 200-day, which is at 2600. So we could see a nice little recovery. It might take a few days to get there, depending on what news comes out in the next week or two. If Pulse and PulseX move, then we could quite easily get over this 2600 of a penny on an HEX. So that could be pretty bullish. And I don't know whether FlexX is moving markets at the moment, but if they have key milestones, move out of testnet onto live, then that could be. I don't know what the time frame that is at the moment. I haven't looked at it, but that could be pretty bullish, and we could quite reasonable get back over this 200-day moving average again, which would mean the downside. Let's go. If we go to 1800, is maybe 10-11%, which is not too bad in crypto. The upside, of course, getting back over here is 25%. So that's a pretty good ratio, right? So 25% on the upside, 10% on the downside, looking pretty good. We might move past that, even 40% on the upside there. So it could be a nice little move here. We get this turn on sentiment that maybe Pulse and PulseX are looking good for, more likely than not at this moment. So that's kind of the play there on the charts. I hope you guys enjoyed that. It's been a while since we've done that. I did do a couple of times doing TA chart, but this time we've gone through all of them. So hopefully that was a bit of fun going through that. I do want to play, of course, since we're up to an hour and 22 minutes and I've gone over my usual time, don't forget to smash the follow charts on X. If you're not following my account on X, help with that. I think I just hit 700. As you guys know, I was rebuilding. I had my old account, which was, around 6,000 or so. It would have been close to 10,000 now, but that got pulled down for no good reason. And they wouldn't even allow me to get it. You guys know I've moaned about this before, but it takes a while to get your followings up. But we are back to 700, so I really appreciate everybody's support for that. It really is cool. We're going to keep going and build that back up again, hopefully not get taken down again. That's the odd thing. Now, you've seen many other influencers get taken down. Brandon's been taken down. C7's been taken down. I think Somi even got taken down. Lots of it. I would say it's is it like a third? Maybe a third of the regular influencers have been taken down before. So it's not an uncommon event. Mine was taken down pretty permanently, and I was just having an impossibility of getting to do anything about it, despite appealing like 10 times. I appealed like 10 times. It was like crickets. And it's pretty annoying. But that's what it is. We're going to build back better, though. That's what we do in the Pulse Chain crypto community, and DeFi in particular. We always fight back, right? That's the spirit, fight back spirit. All right, kind of cool. Now, I'm going to leave you the old bull market video because I think it's very apt, and it's, I think, a great rundown of where we are. So I hope you guys enjoy that on the way out. So let's do that and enjoy the day. And I'll play that Richard Hart video again because I think it's a great way to finish. Now, I will catch you guys next week, of course. Actually, before we do that, let me do another plug for the upcoming Pulse Chain DeFi. You guys got to be here at this, right? The Pulse Chain DeFi Rising Stars is the XSpace coming up the 4th of June. Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern. I told you guys that we had a roadmap and we were going to do what we can to support the growth of Pulse Chain in the bull market. We've got a whole ton of things coming up, guys. It's going to be absolutely amazing. So definitely check it out. 9 p.m. Eastern. Tell your friends, bring your friends along. You're going to hear some pretty awesome teams. Now, this is going to be on every 2 weeks. That's our plan, every 2 weeks. So yeah, it's just another great thing from the Kryptonite Show team. And of course, big shout out to all the efforts from Crypto MVS, our promotional lead in the Kryptonite Show, as well as we probably have a broader team of maybe 5 to 10 people that help support us doing different things. So big shout out to all those people as well. It is looking pretty exciting. So yeah, check that out. Now the teams that are going to be there, of course, Crypto Paradise, Nakamoto 414, Cabal King. We're going to have Nick Hellman or someone like that, maybe Armaru there from the Crypto Paradise team. Hartwood Dog, of course. We're going to have the Hog there. So pretty cool. We're going to have Mitchie as well. Big shout out to IC33 and Nuke the Supply there as well. That is pretty innovative GameFi. Nuclear war and tokenomics. Do you like that? Nuclear GameFi. I think that's going to be pretty exciting. So you're going to hear some very varied, it's a bit of everything. Memetility, DeFi, anime, memes, and GameFi like you've never seen before from the Nuke the Supply. So definitely check that. It's going to be only an hour long approximately, and 10-15 minute times for each speaker, and maybe a little bit of Q&A. We'll see. But that is kind of the play there that is coming up. So definitely keep a lookout for that. It's going to be pretty exciting, I think. And I did think I posted a link to that in the chat, didn't I? So let's have a quick look at that if you want to post it out. We did have, obviously, the Monster Thread just got released yesterday, so check that out too. But then we also got the XSpace coming up as well. So that is the XSpace that we're talking about. Pulse Chain, DeFi, Rising Stars, and that's going to become a regular thing. And Pulse Chain and X Spaces. So yeah, look forward to it. It's going to be good. All right, the first is always awesome. And we look forward to it. So co-hosted by myself and MVS Crypto. Woohoo! It's going to be good. And showcasing the projects and fundamentals. Can't do much better than that, right? Can't do much better than that. On that note, let's play out this cool video. It's bye from me. Don't forget to subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. And I'll catch you on the next show. Pulse Chain for glory. That's going to be pretty epic. All right, bye for now.
Not a mystery. It is a repeat of the debt cycle. They are rolling the debts. They are doing the same thing. Each cycle is not to do with a halving cycle, nothing to do with any of that. It's all driven by liquidity cycle and funding of debts. Each phase, we get phase 1 of the banana zone, banana number 1. The corrective zone, banana number 2 comes. Another correction, banana number 3. So this is the banana zone. So that's what happened in 2020, 2021. Off we go. Sorry, that was 2017, which again looks very similar to this one. That was the last one. Here we are now. It can't be clearer to me. I've shown you the macro evidence, the technical evidence, the sentiment evidence. Everything here suggests to me that hold on to your hats. Don't fuck this up. Don't lose control of your tokens. Don't use leverage. Don't get your wallet hacked. Just sit with it. Be careful. Don't get FOMO. Do all of the right things, and we'll go up to the next phase of correction zone. That's going to be harder, because the next one that happens, we'll have a 35% drop, and you'll all say, is it over? And you'll definitely be sure it's over, and everybody on Twitter will tell you it's over, and it won't be over. By our work, we suggest that because of the elongation of the business cycle, because rates were higher for longer, the forward-looking liquidity suggests that, again, probabilistically speaking, without any guarantees, this whole thing goes into Q1, maybe Q2 of 2026, which would align with Trump's, trying to win the midterms as well. So everything's lined up for us. I think it started. So keep the faith, keep building stuff, and let's keep driving Siri forward with all of this. Thank you.
You could get a God candle at any moment. You could get a giant green candle at any moment, because it's easier to get them, because it takes less economic energy, because there's less of it for sale.